Welcome to this week in the world of wrestling.
Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our Thursday night Smackdown review. And this was the go-home Smackdown before Fastlane this Sunday. And I've got to say, I felt like this is a far better go-home show than what Monday Night Raw was. Now, maybe one of the benefits of that is that it's only 2 hours. Maybe one of the benefits of that is that it had some quality matches. Or maybe, at least for me, the most pertinent factor was that I felt like the way that this Smackdown ended, the way that it punctuated itself, was far better than the way that Raw punctuated itself this past Monday. Overall, I had a lot of fun with this SmackDown. I thought it was a very enjoyable show, and I'm telling you, incrementally, bit by bit, I think SmackDown's starting to hit its own stride again and really becoming distinct from Raw. Ashton, what did you think of it?
You know, I agree with you, and I think that this is like the third or fourth pay-per-view in a row now where we thought that the SmackDown before the show was a better go-home show than the Raw before the show. I think, you know, I'm beginning to think that it's not a mistake that they aren't using Raw to its fullest potential to make it like the ultimate go-home show, and that they're using SmackDown more to do that. I think that that's intentional.
Yeah, you know, I have to agree. In fact, in hindsight, when you really think about it, maybe I should have even seen this coming with the Raw and everything, because when they advertised Brock Lesnar for SmackDown, I mean, how were you going to close the Raw that preceded it?
Yeah, that's kind of the feeling I have too, because it's kind of one of those cases where they have been using Raw more to kind of put a highlight on a match or a feud that hasn't been the most prominent, and then SmackDown is where they go kind of the more traditional route and hype up the main event for the pay-per-view.
Right. I like that format, though. You know, really looking at it as like a complete and cohesive whole. I really liked what was done here. And I think I even put somewhere in my notes that the way that they closed SmackDown made me far more forgiving of the Raw ending, because I think they utilized all the pieces they had to their fullest possible potential.
Yeah, I was actually just getting ready to ask, would you say that this SmackDown would sort of allow you to redact your one and only heat of the night from Raw?
And I think it would. I think it would, because now, see, it's really starting to make sense to me, like we've already, discussed, with Brock Lesnar being advertised for SmackDown and everything, why the pieces were arranged the way that they were. So big ups to this show tonight, and let's just get right into it. Our first segment, Heat of the Night. And I have got no heats tonight. I don't have any nitpicks. I enjoyed this show. Really, if I had any nitpick, maybe I should be a little quick to the draw there. Again, the Golden Truth segments, very repetitive, although I think I even said about that at least R-Truth found a new and creative way to rebuke Goldust for the millionth time, but still, I mean, these segments are really grating on my nerves, so that would be my only nitpick, and I can't even say full-blown heat of the night, because with the whole rapping thing that they laid on top of it, I guess it made it feel somewhat different, so yeah,
it felt more in this segment than any other segment. It felt like Goldust was more willing to acquiesce to R-Truth swims than the other way around.
Exactly.
Like Goldust was more compromising here. He was like, all right, Truth, if you want to do things your way, we'll do things your way.
Right. So I can let it go, but again, like as a nitpick. So what about you, Ash? Any heats of the night? Any nitpicks?
No, I don't think I had any real problems with this show. It wasn't even really a heat of the night or a nitpick, because I honestly didn't even mind that much, but it was unfortunate that Mauro Ranallo wasn't able to be on this show because he was at somebody's funeral, I think.
Yes.
So I mean, it was unfortunate, but it's weird because I felt like Michael Cole was doing his best impression of Mauro. Like he was speaking from the gut and deepening his voice and trying to sound more like Mauro.
Well, yeah, I wonder if Michael Cole, I mean, obviously he'd never admit it publicly, but you gotta wonder if he's been hearing the rumblings of how good Ranallo is. And, maybe he's just like, well, I could do that too.
He's coming for that pay-per-view spot.
Oh, I can't wait. And it's coming. It's gotta happen. I don't think you get a voice like Mauro Ranallo and not use him on pay-per-views. Yeah. So, it's gotta come eventually. But with that said, since you don't really have any qualms with the show, I really didn't either, more or less. Let us get right into our Thursday night SmackDown review. And we open it up hot, because Kevin Owens comes out, Intercontinental Championship in tow, and the cheesiest grin on his face, which immediately made me pop. And he takes a seat at commentary, and we have a 6-man tag team matchup for the opener here. We've got Dolph Ziggler and the Lucha Dragons versus the League of Nations, as represented by Del Rio, Sheamus, and Rusev. So Barrett again on the sidelines, and the guy with the hurt arm is going to actually compete in Sheamus. So there you go. I thought this was a really fun opener, and I think what really made it so, Kevin Owens on commentary for me absolutely killed it. Oh my God, this man is a treasure. He would not let up on Michael Cole. And I think what was even more hilarious is he would give crap to Saxton too. And the one time Saxton tried defending Cole, like, Owens is just like, don't ever say that again, Byron. And even Michael Cole's like, yeah, dude, that was kind of nerdy. So once again, Byron Saxton, the most maltreated person on commentary by far. I enjoyed Dolph Ziggler's hot tag in this match. I thought that was really well done. And that's really when the match really started breaking down. You had Sin Cara. He tried doing a dive over the ropes, but Rusev caught him with a kick. You have Kalisto tried doing a Hurricane Rana to Del Rio, but Del Rio had that power advantage, so he has him in a powerbomb position, and he swings just his back against the barricade really hard. And then, it comes down to Dolph and Sheamus. Owens gets on the apron at one point for a distraction because it's like, you know what? Enough of this. And, he gets on there, and Dolph eats a bro kick, and he gets pinned, so the League of Nations do pick up the victory. I said that I thought this was fine, give the heels the final push before Fastlane, because when it comes down to the 2 mid-card title bouts, I have my feelings about that, but you're going to find out everything tomorrow, guys. I really enjoyed this, and Kevin Owens killed it. To me, he was the star of this match, and he didn't even lift a finger. So what did you think?
Yeah, I love, too, that he comes out and he's all miserable and stuff, and then Michael Cole's just like, well, what's the matter, Kevin? I was expecting you to be in a better mood tonight, considering you won your precious Intercontinental title back, and Owens was just like, yeah, I was in a good mood until I came out here and realized that I had to be with your face instead of the new guy with the glasses and the hair and the thing.
Kevin Owens just gets me on such a deep level. Like, I just want him to powerbomb everybody on the hard part of the ring. Just don't stop until they're all decimated. But of course, that's my sadism and deep psychological issues speaking. I just think Kevin Owens is absolutely amazing. Can't wait for his match with Dolph Ziggler. I mean, yeah, I know we've seen it a million times, but I just can't wait to see Dolph, suffer at the hands of Kevin Owens like Kevin Owens does. So with that said, is there anything else you want to say about this opener?
No, I feel like Kevin Owens was the highlight of the night here. You said it yourself. He was the star of the match, and he didn't even lift a finger. I thought that was awesome. He had another line, too, that was really hilarious, and I just don't remember what exactly it was.
All right, well, if you do remember it later, I mean, feel free to chime in, because I can never talk about Kevin Owens enough.
Someone posted about it on Reddit. Oh, here we go. I found it. Oh, hey, Michael Cole, you know why Mauro Ranallo is sick? Because he heard your commentary on Raw.
Oh, I bet you Michael Cole is crying in the fetal position tonight. That was great. All right, well.
He's so good.
Our next matchup here, we have Tamina versus Sasha Banks. Here's the thing. I kind of lumped this match together and the post-match and the preceding segment that we got together, and taking all of that in as a whole, I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a quick match, which I think is best when you're working with Tamina, and you and I both agree she's not the best worker, but she does the power game well enough that it's passable to have matches like these. I liked Sasha's counter into the Banks statement, where it was almost like a Rey Mysterio Bulldog-esque counter, but then she transitions into the submission hold. She gets Tamina to tap out, which again I think is impressive because she is the powerhouse, the enforcer, and yet Sasha brings her down to the point where she submits. So I think that's cool. The post-match beatdown by Team Bad I thought was nice. Becky does make the save, but when she tries helping Sasha up, Sasha shoves her, and Becky's just like, well, what is this? What's going on? So we still see discord between the two, but immediately afterwards, and that's why I said I wanted to lump it all together, we do have a backstage segment. Becky finds Sasha. She's like, hey, what was that about? And then Sasha's like, I didn't need your help, and they go through it. And then Becky says, look, I know we're not friends, but I hate to lose. I know you hate to lose. And you know what happens if we can't get on the same page? We're going to lose. And Naomi and Tamina are going to have momentum on the road to WrestleMania. And Becky says, I want my WrestleMania moment. Sasha says she wants her WrestleMania moment too. So in the name of the WrestleMania moment, They come together, they bury it, they say that they're going to kick ass like a boss. And you know what? I really like that motivation, Ashton. I like that these women, and see, this is what I'd really like to see more of. You're getting the WrestleMania moment from the women's perspective. Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch know what it means to go to WrestleMania. It's the show of shows, and the idea that they say, look, if we can't get it together, we may not even go to WrestleMania. We may be passed over for Tamina and Naomi because, I mean, hell, you're only as good as your last match, right? So they say we have to win so we can ensure that we get our WrestleMania moment. And I love that because it makes WrestleMania feel important when even you get two people that just want to really beat each other up, you know, and kick the crap out of each other to come together in the name of a common cause. I really loved how this was handled.
Yeah, it was very well handled, and I love that they are going so far out of the way to establish that Sasha and Becky are not friends and that this is just an alliance for the sake of sort of getting past this whole team bad situation.
Yeah, they've made it explicitly clear. I think if anybody were to infer that there is a friendship between the two, I mean, it would really just be that you weren't paying attention because I feel like they've really made it, really outlined it. This is a business kind of partnership. You know, we're getting rid of two obstacles that we mutually share.
Yep.
And, you know, and then it's all about WrestleMania. And again, I love that. I love that even with this match, a match that I think, and it's not even the fault of the women involved, I just think it's how the WWE again has handled this quote unquote Divas Revolution. God, I hate that term. You know, that people might not really look into this match with any kind of vested interest, but the idea that it's like it's about getting to WrestleMania for these two, I think really kicks it up a notch. So I really appreciated that. Moving right along.
And also, this segment allowed me to have a new headcanon for Sasha and Becky, and probably Charlotte and Bayley too, whenever Bayley gets called up. That the only reason they're even on the main roster is so that they can main event WrestleMania, and as soon as they get that accomplished, they're going to go back down to NXT where they actually want to be.
There you go.
That's my new headcanon. Their goal isn't to actually be on the main roster. It's just to be there long enough so that they get to main event WrestleMania and then go back to where they actually want to be in NXT.
Brother, I love it, and I hope you're right, because what a magical world that would be. But regardless, I mean, I'm really hoping that happens now. I'm a fan immediately. But our next matchup here, we get Chris Jericho versus The Miz. Now, Jericho has a promo that kind of precedes this. It seems like he's going to call out AJ Styles, give his final word on the whole Fastlane challenge. But then Miz comes out, says, look, nobody cares about you and AJ. Everybody's tired of it. Plus, I have an announcement of my own. I was invited to this after party at the Playboy Mansion. And, you know, it's the typical Miz promo where he highlights his quote-unquote Hollywood credentials.
It was the post-Grammy party, yeah.
The post-Grammy party, yeah, at the Playboy Mansion. And
you know, I don't even know if he was actually there, but that actually was a thing.
Yeah.
He didn't make up the event, but I don't know, how credible him saying that he was a guest of honor there is.
Well, if you asked Michael Cole during the match, not very, because he goes on to rebuke that claim later on. But,
oh, nice.
Yeah, Miz informs Jericho, like, you have a match with me right now. He tries taking a cheap shot. Of course, Jericho rebuffs that. But here's the thing. I thought this was a great match, and I even put in my notes, like, Miz has been having a string of these lately, in my opinion, with AJ Styles and now Chris Jericho. I mean, I don't want to say that Miz has gone up and, in his ring work. I mean, clearly Styles and Jericho, I think, are attributable to this success. But at the same time, though, and you and I have given Miz credit for this, he's really hit his stride with this heel character. I think it took him so long, but I think finally he's a heel that is actually an asset to the company and not just an asset in his own mind. So, I really appreciate the work Miz has been doing, and I'm loving how he's working off of the likes of Jericho and Styles. And even though he is certainly the third wheel in this feud, he's been getting quite a bit of grease. He's been certainly, squeaky enough to, get that ring time.
I'm telling you, man, I'm starting to really gain an appreciation for the Miz as a heel because, even if I were unwilling, or even if I would be completely unwilling to admit that he's actually won me over as far as his promos go and that his ring work isn't terrible anymore like it used to be, which I am willing to admit. But even if I wasn't, at some point the writing's got to be on the wall, and I've got to admit that anyone that he feuds with gets insanely over.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about Daniel Bryan, his first big feud was with The Miz, and he got pretty over with that. Obviously, that wasn't the reason that he got as hugely over as he did, but he got pretty over with that. And then Alex Riley actually got an amazing reaction when he finally turned on The Miz. And, whether you want to blame him or the WWE's lack of using him properly for the reason that he kind of faded away, regardless, The Miz got him to a point where they could have taken it further. And, of course, more recently, Damien Mizdow was retardedly over. And you've got to wonder, why is the WWE not using him to get other young guys over? At this point, I know this is going to sound stupid, but I would almost prefer The Miz to be feuding with AJ than Jericho.
Yeah. I really can't even disagree with you, dude, especially since you went 3 different cases. Daniel Bryan, Alex Riley, and then Mizdow.
Yeah.
Miz is really great at getting those people. And then you look at, not to really pile on, because I know it's a different case than the 3 that you mentioned, but you think about the Miz TV that he had with AJ Styles.
Yeah!
He had those people in the palm of his hand.
One segment was literally just 95% The Miz talking, 5% AJ Styles beating him up. And all of the talking building up to the beatdown is what made the crowd want the beatdown to happen. And then when AJ gave it to them, it made it that bigger of a deal. And it woke the crowd up because the crowd was dead that night. And then Miz went on his whole freaking thing, got the crowd to really hate him. And then the beatdown actually got a reaction from the crowd.
Right. Yeah, I really appreciated, all the work that he's been doing. And as far as this match goes, I had a lot of fun with it. Again, great back and forth. It seemed like, Miz was really aggressive in parts, but Jericho, getting all of his signature offense in. But here's the thing that I really liked. And I don't know if this was deliberate or if it's me reading too much into it, but regardless, I think it works out.
Reading too much into something? Who do you think you are? Me?
I know, right? Oh, man. But I love that Jericho won this match by submission with the Walls of Jericho because AJ won by submission on Raw with the calf crusher. So, to me, it's like Jericho almost inadvertently saying, well, anything AJ can do, I can do better. And if you notice, too, in a way, he kind of did because Miz tapped out instantaneously. As soon as that hold was on, he was tapping out. Whereas I feel like with AJ's calf crusher, Miz was able to hang on a little bit longer. Yeah, well, they call it calf crusher. I know you and I always know it as the calf killer.
Oh, wow, I got it mixed up. For some reason, I had it in my head that it was the calf crusher in New Japan, and now it was the calf killer.
No, other way around, brother.
This is so messed up.
Yeah, that's why I've been trying to keep it together.
Well, you did a better job than I did, so congratulations.
But yeah, Miz hung on just a little bit longer in the calf crusher to me than he did in the Walls of Jericho. So, Jericho kind of made his case. But I do love that.
Y2J.
I know, right? So I really love that both of these victories for Styles and Jericho were submission victories. Again, I don't know if that was deliberate, but I think it's a nice touch.
I think it was deliberate. I'm going to say it.
You know what? I'm going to agree with you. I want to give them credit for something, even if they don't deserve it, because that's going to help me get through the night. So,
oh my God.
There you go. Post-match exchange between Jericho and Styles. I liked it. Again, Jericho talked up AJ, said he respected him, but he's like, I respect you, but I don't really like you. So, I'm not going to face you at Fastlane again.
Yeah.
And
bugger off, AJ. You don't deserve another match with me.
But then I love AJ, because, again, Chris Jericho, first of all, exhibiting heelish tendencies.
Yes.
But then I love AJ here where he's like, is there anything I can do to convince you, Chris? No, AJ, no, you're good. You're sure there's nothing I can do to convince you? No, we're done here.
Punch.
BAM! Punch him right in the face. It's like, maybe you'll listen to Force, bitch bag. And he does this, flurry of strikes, and then he clotheslines him out of the ring. And then Jericho, I could see it in his face. I think he so badly wanted to be like 2009 Jericho. He wanted to give in so badly. And he's like, that was a big mistake. You want it? You want it? And AJ's like, yeah, I want it. You got it.
I was waiting for Jericho to be like, you want it? You want it? Well, too bad.
And then as he's walking up the ramp, he can point at different sections of people. Germ incubators, troglodytes, sycophants, the whole lot of you. But
that would have been so perfect.
What I love here, can I give credit to somebody else that we really, we've touched on a little bit in the opening of TWitWoW, but I think also really made this segment. Jerry Lawler had a great line here.
Dude,
he had a
Lawler on commentary recently has been so on fire.
dude. Who would have thought you and I would be saying that about Jerry Lawler in 2016?
Hey, man, we give credit where it's due. That's like one of the running themes for TWitWoW right now is that even if we don't necessarily like somebody, if they would do good work, we give them credit.
Exactly. And he had a great line, in my opinion, Ashton, in this segment, because after AJ attacked Jericho, everybody was chanting for AJ, and Jerry jumped on that. He's like, look at these people. A few seconds ago, they were chanting for Chris Jericho, and now they're chanting for AJ Styles, pointing out their hypocrisy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, Jerry Lawler is speaking for Chris Jericho, what he can't say right now because he hasn't completed the turn.
Yes!
So good, dude.
I love it. Yeah.
I thought that was great by Lawler, because as soon as he said that, my eyes kind of lit up, and I'm like, no way. Like,
dude, we'll get to it on, well, not even on Saturday. It'll be tomorrow, actually, because we're doing preview predictions a day earlier than usual from here on out. I might be leaning towards picking Jericho to win in a dirty, cheaty fashion to complete the turn.
Very interesting. Dude, I can't wait for preview predictions tomorrow. Like, again, there's so much I want to say, and now it seems like there's stuff that you're going to want to say. This is going to be amazing. But yeah, Jericho said that AJ would regret this, so, ominous. And, do you have anything else you want to say about this?
Oh, that was an amazing laugh. You're like,
So we get our first formal segment of the night. To me, Roman Reigns. Beg pardon?
How formal was it?
Formal enough to take me to my prom that I cried all the way through. But regardless, Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose are in the hallway. They're talking, and Roman's like, I don't really, understand the whole dirty deeds thing you tried to pull, but, I understand it. You had a rough night. I'm sorry about your loss, losing the Intercontinental Championship. Ambrose said, it's fine, whatever. But as Roman's about to leave, and I found this very interesting, he said, oh, and by the way, don't pull that dirty deed stuff again. And Ambrose is like, well, can't you take a joke?
I'd love that. And Roman's just like, yeah, I could take a good joke. That wasn't one.
See, and... you know what? No, I'm going to save that for preview predictions, too, because there's something I really want to say about these two.
Oh, be sure to remember it, though.
Do you think I should say it now?
Yes.
I don't like that they're trying to paint Ambrose as the heel to me. Are you not getting that vibe?
No. Dude, I feel like Ambrose right now is in a spot where he could literally shoot Roman Reigns in the head with a gun and the crowd would chuckle.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I think, you're probably right. I don't even really know how to say that, because, I agree with you, but it's weird, dude, because, to me, I know you and I believe Ambrose to be the babyface, and I even wrote on Twitter, that old dirty deeds business he tried pulling on Monday, to me, that wasn't him being a scumbag so much as him saying, hey, again, Reigns called him out more or less, saying, I've already beaten Dean, and Dean saying, well, I want to go to WrestleMania, and I'm willing to do anything it takes to go to WrestleMania, which, in my opinion, and maybe I'm in the minority here, that's how you should be. You're talking the biggest payday of the year, the biggest show of the year.
I can see it from both sides, because the WWE, a lot of the time, they like to paint somebody that's willing to do anything to win as a heel. I mean, look at Neville at the tail end of his NXT run against Sami Zayn. He was willing to go the extra mile and even though he technically wasn't cheating, because even the stuff that he was doing that would have been considered cheating had it been caught wasn't getting caught, it was still dirty enough for him to be more heelish, for the crowd to boo him and that kind of stuff. And that, I don't feel like Dean has necessarily gone that far yet, but the fact that he is sort of unprompted trying to give Roman Reigns a dirty deeds, I don't know, that's definitely a gray area. But then on that same note, he hasn't actually hit the dirty deeds. And then you have to wonder, A, is he intentionally just hooking it in to freak Roman out, to fake him out and be like, look, man, I could do this to you if I wanted to. Or B, is he actually trying to do it and Roman's fighting out of it?
And see, to me, regardless of what the answer is, I just don't like what I feel like WWE is trying to do.
I see what you're saying, though, yeah. Because it feels like they're trying to paint Dean as the jerk.
Yes, and I hate that, because here's the thing. I can tolerate up to a point WWE's actions to try and make Roman work as a babyface. But I know the one thing that you and I have never really tolerated on TWitWoW is when it gets so bad as to the point of compromising somebody else's momentum. And Dean has a lot of momentum right now.
It's like when they turned Ryback heel to feud with Cena.
Exactly. It's exactly that, Ashton. It's exactly that. Because had you gone by the reaction when he first attacked Cena that night, you would have thought he was the most over babyface in the company because people loved it. Yep. But then the following week, they make it seem like, oh, well, Ryback's just sullied on everybody because he thought Cena was, whatever, and it wasn't.
I bet you people don't even know anything about basic nutrition.
I still miss Bully Back, for the record, but it doesn't change the fact
that it was a dumb decision.
Exactly. Just like, I swear to God, WWE, if you turn Dean Ambrose heel, and it isn't even my favoritism towards him, like, okay, well, I think it's always going to be a part of that. But the idea, this guy is the babyface right now. I noticed when I got back on the grid, on the Raw that I missed, you tweeted something that I had the biggest grin on my face. You said after one segment that involved both Dean and Roman, notice how the kids were leaning over the barricade to talk to Dean when Roman was right there. Yeah. And, like, nobody gave a shit about Roman.
That was the segment where Dean low-blowed Brock Lesnar.
Right.
Because Roman came out and he was standing on the ramp, and it distracted Brock, and Dean hit him with a low blow, and that allowed Dean to kind of escape from the ring while Brock was writhing in pain. And Dean kind of crawled up the ramp, and he was laying there, and Roman bent down to, see, hey, man, what are you doing? You going to be all right? And the kids were leaning over the barricade, looking at Dean, trying to grab him and talk to him. And Roman was standing right there.
I'm telling you, it doesn't even make any sense to me that they would compromise Ambrose's momentum for ego, but then again, it's Vince McMahon.
Exactly. That's exactly why.
I don't get it, though, dude. It's like you have your babyface. Why are you so angry that you didn't make it so long as you have it? You realize Dean works for you, right? You realize the money's still going in your pocket. How fucking stupid are you?
What was that story I told you about WrestleMania 10?
Was that the quote about the arena?
Yeah.
Yeah. What a crock of horseshit. And see, now I'm getting hot, so I got to get off this because I would.
Dude, get hot. Get angry. There's no reason to pull off.
But, that's my thing. We're so close to WrestleMania. And again, I don't want to, say anything that would give away preview predictions tomorrow. But I'm really hoping that a hardworking guy doesn't get fucking screwed. Because I'm telling you, if it's about, we gotta make it Roman Reigns' year, nothing is organic about it. And look, I know they've been trying with Survivor Series and everything else. But I'm telling you, in these last few weeks, it has felt more authentically like Dean's road to WrestleMania than Roman. So the idea that it's like, oh, well, what is with Dean trying to hook in dirty deeds on Roman? Screw off. Maybe he's trying to hook in dirty deeds on Roman because he straight up said, oh, well, I've beaten Ambrose. It kind of brushed him away like a common housefly. Or maybe it's just the idea that Roman Reigns is a douchebag. Maybe. I don't know. But regardless, yeah, Ambrose is going about his business, and then they tease us some more, those of us who actually want a proper WrestleMania main event, by having Ambrose interact with Paul Heyman. And between Ambrose being Ambrose and Heyman actually showing me what him being in a state of anxious aardvark looks like.
Dude, this segment was so good. I loved Ambrose's facial expressions here. He's so good.
I love that this guy, hell, like you said, don't let go of the anger, just use all this energy. I love that this guy just does not give a shit. I love the idea that when it's like Brock Lesnar's in the building and he's looking for you, if Paul Heyman said that to Triple H would have a stone serious face. I'm like, well, I guess it's time to play the game. Or Roman Reigns would just be like, well, Paul, or Roman Reigns would be emotionally aware and be like, well, Paul, you know what? Really appreciate that you shot straight at me. You're a real stand-up guy. We need more of that. And instead of either of those things, which makes no goddamn sense, you have Dean Ambrose, who everybody wants to say is crazy, and I know, Ashton, you've had your qualms with that, but at least he plays the part when he doesn't care. When he's like, oh, Brock's looking for me, and you hear the excitement in his voice like he just won a trip to Disneyland, for God's sakes. It works. I love that this guy is a different kind of courage, because it's not even the fact that he's facing an obstacle or this and that. It's that he enjoys it. I love that this guy enjoys it.
He does not, that's the thing is, what I love about the thing with him and Roman tries to make Lesnar look like less of a monster. Because Roman's just like, oh, Brock Lesnar isn't a beast, he's a man, blah, blah, blah. Whereas with Dean, he admits that Brock is a monster, but he's just like, he's a monster, but I've beaten monsters before.
Yes, dude, that is such an excellent point. I'm so glad you brought that up. And I love, though, that even in spite of that, fully acknowledging that Lesnar's a monster and this and that, more or less, when Dean gets F5'd, his reaction is, oh my god, can we do that again? And Heyman is just like, okay. Like, he doesn't know what to do.
I've never seen anybody disarm Paul Heyman quite like Dean Ambrose can.
Dude, that was the most amazing thing I think I've seen so far this year, because Paul Heyman always has something to say. Always. And Dean Ambrose getting up in his face, I don't even think Paul feared for his life, because I don't think he had any reason to. I just think it's like, well, wait a minute, this isn't how this is supposed to go. You're supposed to
be
fear
horrified.
Lesnar. Yeah, you're supposed to fear the beast incarnate and streak and fear and, just explode. And Dean doesn't, though. And again, this is why, to me, Dean is a million times more compelling than Roman Reigns. Dean is a million times more ready to main event WrestleMania than Roman Reigns, which, by the way, there was a line on commentary during the main event about how these guys, they want to know what it's like, to be at the big stage WrestleMania. Well, Roman already got to main event WrestleMania. Why don't you talk to Dean Ambrose about that, who's gotten the shaft? He got the shaft last year, and he's probably going to get it again this year, although that remains to be seen.
You know how insanely easy it would be. And here's the thing, John. Writing for wrestling is not an easy thing. It isn't.
Right.
It's not. It's basically you're putting a puzzle together, but you don't know what the end result is going to look like. You're basically putting it together from scratch, and you're basically doing it blind. But do you realize how ridiculously easy it would be to write a Shield triple threat for WrestleMania 33 starting right now?
Dude, yes, because you remember the fantasy booking I did leading up to that Shield triple threat, and I'm not saying you have to go verbatim what I did, but, the pieces are already starting to come together. You have Seth Rollins out with an injury. That comeback is going to be amazing. That pop is going to destroy any roof that it is under. You have Dean Ambrose, who's been this scrapper, was in the final two at the Royal Rumble with Triple H, and now he's on this whole tear here going into Fastlane. The only piece that should be fitting together easily, but it isn't because of the wills of other people, is Roman Reigns, because he should not be a babyface in this equation.
Exactly. It's so ridiculous, because he is literally the only one of the three that would be better off going into that triple threat as a heel.
And dude, I know this is going to sound incredibly petty, but Roman Reigns doesn't even look like a babyface to me. Like, why am I supposed to cheer for you when you look like you could steal my girlfriend at a moment's notice?
Well, that you could also say that about Cena.
And that's true, right? That's true. And you and I think, have said that about Cena, so I think it's still logically consistent.
Yeah, you do have a point, though. Like, if you watched that one episode of Breaking Ground with, was it Tino Sabatelli?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Dillinger was telling him, like, dude, you look at you. I already don't like you just because of the way you look. Use that.
Right.
And that's Roman Reigns. Like, that's his thing too, is like, he is a good looking dude. The women freaking love him. He shouldn't be the next John Cena. He should be the next freaking Rick Rude.
Yes. Oh my god, yeah. And let me just make explicitly clear.
This is something I've been saying for a while. Diesel.
Yes. No, I'm in 100% agreement with you. And let me just
And it's funny, too, because, and I know I've said this on TWitWoW again before, but I need to just keep on drilling it, because I want people to either see it and be like, oh, wow, you're right, or find a reason why I'm wrong and let me know so that I can stop saying it. Right. WWE's making all the same mistakes right now with Roman Reigns that they made with Diesel in 1994 and 95.
Which specifically, like, if you could name just even like one specific example, just to give everybody context.
Well, what got Diesel over in the first place was when he was a badass. Like, when he was a badass heel, the crowd started to love him. And when he finally won the title, he was like the first Stone Cold. Like, they called him Stone Cold Diesel. There was a period of time when he was known as Stone Cold Diesel, And he was running this like anti-authority gimmick. He was cutting promos on Vince McMahon while McMahon was still on commentary and stuff like that. And then next thing you know, he was this white bread baby face that was smiling for everyone and kissing babies and hugging fat chicks. And it died. Wrestling started, or WWE's ratings started dying. And, you know, it wasn't until the Montreal Screwjob that they got the ratings back.
Exactly. And, you know, to me, that just makes so much sense, because when I think about Roman Reigns' trajectory, I remember that people, including myself, I mean, again, guys, you only have to go back and listen to our past live reactions during this period, when Roman Reigns was still the enforcer for the Shield, but he was dominant and he had that swagger as a heel. Yeah. People were digging it because, again, he was dominant, but he didn't compromise his badassery.
Exactly. Well, yeah, and even the two whole nights that people liked him for TLC when he beat up Triple H and the night after when he won the world title, they completely abandoned everything else that they had been doing with him for the sake of making him a badass, and it worked.
Right.
And even though you and I saw the writing on the wall, and we were like, guys, you know, you can appreciate this for what it is, but this doesn't fix the problem.
Right.
There were still a lot of people that were really optimistic, like, oh my God, they finally got Roman Reigns right. Maybe this is like the turning of a page, and they're going to keep doing this. And of course they didn't. Literally the following week, he was smiling and like I said, you know, doing the purebred John Cena thing.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And it frustrates me, though, that you and I and
honestly,
other people,
if there was not enough proof already that they wanted Roman Reigns to be the next John Cena, I think the blue contacts are a bit of a dead giveaway.
Yeah, oh my God. You know, what's really sad is, despite the fact that you, me, and other people, we can all say that it doesn't work, they're going to try and jam that square peg in the round hole, and it's just going to be awful. Because I'm not going to be hyperbolic and say, oh, WrestleMania 32 will do horrible buy rates.
No, it's still probably going to sell out. Although, I did hear apparently Fastlane hasn't sold out yet, and it's having trouble selling out.
Interesting. So I'm not going to commit hyperbole like that. But, I mean, don't expect people to jump on this bandwagon, because if you haven't gotten them to jump on now, they're never going to. It's just not going to happen.
The harder you push, the more people are going to push back.
Exactly. You've got to treat large swaths of wrestling fans as you would, you know, a teenager. And I speak from experience. The more you try and get them to do something, the more resistant they're going to be to do it. They can clearly see through the manipulation of trying to like Roman Reigns. It's not going to work. Either be more subtle and intelligent with your marketing, or, you know, do the far easier thing and just go with Dean fucking Ambrose.
Well, and even then with Roman, I feel like at this point, he has so much ammunition. If he would to turn heel, he would be cutting scathing promos for months before he ran out of ammo.
Yeah, dude, like, I would be on board. I'd be like, yeah, give it to me, because I gave you nothing but shit for all these months. And then, yeah, I want Roman to get angry, and and obviously, look, I know we always do the joke of it's irrelevant, but he doesn't even need to say that. Just have that swagger, be that heel, and it's not.
Yeah, like, and then that's the thing. I feel like when we talk about how much better Roman would be as a heel, obviously we've seen him work heel before as the thoroughbred Roman Reigns at NXT, but I'm not even necessarily asking for that. I just want him to get angry.
Yes, I think you could boil down my request to the same, dude. I will readily co-sign onto that. I mean, can you imagine, dude, and then I do want to move on because we've really been staying on this segment, but can you imagine the magnitude of a feud between a heel Roman Reigns with a babyface Dean Ambrose with the momentum that Ambrose has right now?
And
it'd be amazing.
Eventually a babyface Seth Rollins getting added to that mix.
Oh my God. And then when you add Seth Rollins, it's over. It's over. Like, it's going to be the defining feud. Hypothetically, if they were to pull the trigger this year, it would be the defining feud of 2016, even though Rollins would be late to the party. Nothing else would top that for me for that year.
And that's why I keep on, saying it would be so easy to write that Shield triple threat, because you have Roman turn heel. He takes Seth's spot in the Authority. He becomes the man, the corporate man, the guy that Triple H has wanted all along. And then when Rollins comes back, we have a major case of anxious aardvark where, it's kind of a similar case to the whole Rollins-Orton situation. That gives Rollins ammunition to use as a babyface. And Ambrose can be doing the same thing this whole time, talking about how he got screwed by Rollins. Now he got screwed by Reigns. When are these people going to wine and dine him before they screw him again?
Right. There's so much potential there, but regardless, anything else we have to say, we'll do it at preview predictions, because again, I've got a lot I want to say about that main event, but moving on, we have JoJo interviewing the New Day.
She's amazing.
Yeah, JoJo's amazing, and the New Day actually like her, unlike Eden Styles. Yeah, they really don't care for Eden. That's something you and the New Day have in common.
I know,
Ashton.
I was just going to say, the New Day have great taste in backstage interviewer.
I know. They pretty much say that they are musically superior to Edge and Christian, that Edge and Christian are out of style.
I bet any money the New Day are going to love Kathy Kelly when they get interviewed by her.
Oh, yes. I'm so happy for her, and I'm so happy for the New Day that they have such a great personality to work off of when she gets there. And I literally ended my notes on this segment with Big E gyrated and Kofi twerked to end the segment. Because
it lasted so long.
It was really, the camera really stayed focused on those two.
Yeah.
And I gotta be honest.
It felt like they were really, like, almost too much so focusing on Big E.
I was gonna say the focus seemed more on Becky, and I gotta be honest, I was able to last 10 seconds before it really became off-putting.
Oh, dude, as soon as they started, I looked at my computer, and I just kind of saw them out of my peripheral.
There you go. Next matchup, Charlotte versus Natalya. Really a quick matchup. I have to say, though, because again, we say one of our running things on Twitter, I was giving credit where it's due. I thought this was a good heel match from Charlotte, dude. Because to me, it seemed like Natalya was dominating, and Charlotte only ever gained control in the match whenever she would create distance between herself and Natalya. So I thought that was a good heel tactic. Her exposing the ring cover to kind of trip up Natalya and injure the leg, I thought was nice. And then she wins with the figure eight. And then mocking the S chants, I mean, I get it because of the program, but man, that skirmish between her and Brie Bella, I said it was okay, but I really hate the chest kicks that Brie Bella does. And what makes me cringe even harder, I'm not going to lie, I'm not saying this is going to be the outcome, but I do fear that Brie's going to at least attempt a yes lock come Fastlane, and the cringe is going to be so bad. So, do you have anything you want to add to this?
Yeah, I've got one word for Brie Bella.
Okay.
Exploitation.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. You know what? That's the best review for all this. So we can just move on. Golden Truth. Yeah. I already kind of touched on this. I'll even quote my notes here. You know, I can only think of so many ways a person can rebuke the advances of another person, but kudos to R-Truth. He found a new way to reject Goldust. This time he rejected him through rap, and for fuck's sake, will Goldust finally take the hint? Of course he won't, because my agony to WWE is far too valuable.
Are you familiar, John, with Tim Minchin?
I've heard that name, but I'm not familiar with the person per se. I've heard that name, though.
You know, I could say he's a comedian, but he's so much more talented than that. He does a little bit of everything. He's an actor, comedian, singer, pianist. He does a lot of stuff. But he has a song where he talks about how it's called Thank You God, I think it is, but it's like a really sarcastic thing, like thank you God for healing the cataracts in this one random white bitch's eye or something like that. But he tells a story to build up to it where he's talking about how, you know, he was talking to some guy after the show and he said, why are you an atheist? And he goes, well, I'm an atheist because I believe in things when I have evidence. And he's just like, well, you don't have any evidence to believe in love, do you? And then he's just like, yeah, I think I do. Love without evidence is stalking. And that's what Goldust is doing.
It really, really is. Take the hint, dude. You should be in jail. Main event time. Dean Ambrose and Roman.
Already?
Yeah, dude. You know what? I think it's appropriate given that we gave so much discussion to how awful Roman Reigns is as booked by WWE.
Yeah.
So, Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns versus the Dudley Boyz. I actually have here, I enjoyed the main event. Particularly, I enjoyed the Dudleys working heel. And I have to give particular comments to Bubba because I loved how he mocked her. He was really visceral towards Roman. And there was another point in the matchup where he had Dean Ambrose down, but he was in the corner, so you knew Bubba was going to go for that top rope spot where he crashes and burns. But before that, he goes, let's go, Ambrose! And he does that whole mocking thing. So I really love that Bubba put his back into working heel in this match. I mean, Devon did fine too, but I think Bubba really had the moments here.
Are we really surprised by that, given how good the Bully Ray character was perceived in TNA?
Certainly not. You know, again, I think I even tweeted at one point, it's a shame that Bubba will never be able to give the Bully Ray character a test drive in WWE, because the first program I would put him in is against a guy like Kalisto.
You know what, though?
Like
I feel like he kind of is already. It's just that it's in the context of a tag team.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what he is doing. Like, he basically is Bully Ray. He just happens to have his brother along for the ride.
Right. So it's more like quasi-Aces of Eights than anything, except, you know, not nearly as bad. Lesnar crashed.
I can tell you, I didn't watch TNA when that was a thing.
Oh, you saved yourself. I'm so glad. I watched YouTube clips, but even that, I think, took pieces away of me that I'll never get back. Lesnar crashes the party. Okay, so it becomes a non-finish, which I even put, because I know I said on Raw when this match was announced that I thought the Dudley should have gone over, or should go over, and it should be because of a miscue between Dean and Roman. But you know what? Lesnar being the cause of a non-finish, I think is completely acceptable. I had no problems with this. The three of them brawl. Roman tries to spear Lesnar at one point, but he ends up not necessarily spearing Dean. It's more like almost like a shoulder tackle, whatever, because he stops in time, but he still bumps Dean. Dean then turns Roman around, and he tries going for dirty deeds again. And I would have liked Roman to just push him away and spear him, but he Samoan drops him instead, which I guess is fine. But then he, you know, being Reigns, gets caught in an F5, so Lesnar's the last man standing, and then Triple H's music hits, and he comes out in a suit with the title draped over his shoulder, and he stares eye to eye
with the
Lesnar.
Smuggest of smug smiles on his face, too.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed how this segment was handled. I like that the skirmish these three had, and that the interaction again between Dean and Roman was kept to a minimum, because you know they're saving that for Sunday. And Lesnar got, in my mind, some much needed shine, because to be honest, unless my memory's awful, which that is a very legitimate possibility, I can't remember the last time Lesnar looked this dominant, and I think he really needed to going into a match like this. So I'm really glad he stood tall to end this segment. Asha, is there anything you want to add or any thoughts you want to give?
No, you know, this final segment kind of made me wonder. I wonder if they're doing what we've been asking for them to do for a while, and they're swinging their left, and they're going to clock us with the right, because we've been talking about how, you know, it's either going to be Roman in the obvious choice or Dean in the what they should do choice, and next thing you know, it's going to end up being Lesnar, and no one saw it coming.
Yeah, that just might be. I mean, you know, I like how in each of their own ways, I think each guy has a viable stake in winning this match. I think actually Dean's biggest claim to me, again, being in the final two in the Royal Rumble and kicking off the cement shoes of the Intercontinental Championship. You know, so it's not like he's got that obligation anymore. So all these guys, I wouldn't say equally, because I think that's a bit too far, but I would say these guys each in their own way have a stake in winning this match and having a viable claim to the WrestleMania main event. But with that said, let's move on. Our next segment, high spots and low shots. My low shot is Dolph Ziggler, because he allowed himself to be distracted by Kevin Owens. He ate a bro kick, and he ate the pin for his team. And again, considering this was the go-home Smackdown, Dolph really could have used some momentum heading into Fastlane this Sunday. Kevin Owens got the better of him. It was a rough night for the show-off. Dolph's my low shot.
Okay, my low shot is going to be Team Bad, because it seems like every week they get a very, very brief upper hand just by double teaming one of the two women they're about to face at Fastlane. But anytime it's 2-on-2, they either cower away or lose. So it doesn't really speak volumes about what's going to happen to them at Fastlane.
Yeah, I completely
Especially
agree.
now that Becky and Sasha are on the same page.
Yes, I completely agree with that assessment. I think you're on point. Moving on, my high spot, this will be the easiest one I've had in a while, Brock Lesnar. I mean, he came in, he laid waste, he stood tall. Nothing more you can say about that. It's just Brock Lesnar being Brock Lesnar. So, yeah, he's my high spot.
I can dig that. I think my high spot's going to be Kevin Owens.
Nice!
Because like we said, we were saying it so many times during the opening match, Kevin Owens was the star of this match, and he didn't even lift a finger. And the guy that he's facing at Fastlane lost, so that took some momentum away from Ziggler.
God, Kevin Owens is so amazing.
And why is that, John?
Because he's a father, damn it, and the Intercontinental Champion, damn it! Yeah. Two things. More than one. Two. Yeah!
Is two greater than one?
You bet your sweet ass it is. Yeah! Kevin Owens! God, I can't wait for him to get his monster push, because live reactions will be epic during that period.
Oh, wow. You're really living in a pipe dream, aren't you?
It's gonna happen, Ashton. Don't take my dream away, goddammit.
That's what it is. It's a dream. I said that.
It's gonna come true.
Okay, stop yelling at me.
I'm not done yet. And neither are you, because we still have one more segment, 30-second hot seat. So in the mood I'm in, if you've got the balls, you better throw me a curveball this week.
Okay, so on last night's NXT, our main event involved a world champion from 3 different companies that aren't the WWE. John, I want you to tell me what those companies are. You have 30 seconds, and your time starts now.
Wait a minute, what? Okay. NXT Evolved, world champion for 3 different companies. New Japan, WWE.
I just said it's not in WWE, and no, New Japan's not one of them.
ECW.
No.
WCW.
No.
TNA.
No. Well, yeah, there's one of them.
Okay, TNA.
That's Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe was, 30 seconds are up anyway.
Oh, okay, well, it was Samoa Joe, TNA, ROH.
No.
He was never ROH world champion?
No. Well, yeah, he
What?
was, but there are 3 different people.
Oh, okay.
Joe was TNA and ROH champion, yeah, but that's just one person. I'm talking about all 3 people.
Sami Zayn?
Yeah, but what was the place that he was the champion in?
ROH.
No.
What?
PWG.
Bullshit!
Jericho was never champion in ROH.
That's a travesty.
And who's left?
Okay, so we had Joe, ROH, Zayn, PWG. Who the hell else?
Do you want me to tell you?
No. Finn Balor, because I know he was on the show.
He wasn't in the main event.
No. Drake Younger?
There you go!
CCW?
There you go.
Okay, yeah, screw that 30-second hot seat. At least I got the curveball I asked for. Regardless.
I calmed you down by confusing you.
Indeed. You're like, oh man, I gotta quell this anger right now. All right, do you have anything else you want to say about this SmackDown?
Well, since our 30-second hot seat was less of a what's your opinion and more of a trivia question, and everyone knows the answers now, I'm going to have to change up my question. And because I didn't want to ask you a preview and predictions related question, I'm going to just ask everyone right now, guys, who do you think is going to be battling it out for the women's, or the Divas, I'm sorry, it's the main roster, so it's Divas, the Divas Championship going into WrestleMania?
Ah, I like that. All right, guys, with that said, this has been Smackdown. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to comment and subscribe on YouTube. You already know what the question is. Who's going to be battling it out for the Divas Championship going in to WrestleMania? Be sure to take that conversation over to Pweetoff. That is Pro Wrestling is taking over Facebook. You should really join us now because we always do pay-per-view predictions. We always make a game of it, and we're going to be doing it for Fastlane. So if you want to join and get in on the fun, you're more than welcome. We'd be happy to have you.
Yeah, you can actually make it onto the card, and then maybe if you win, you might be able to make it onto the Pweetoff WrestleMania.
I know. I mean, big stakes, people. Big stakes. I should know. I'm a main event talent there. But regardless.
We both are. Thank you very much.
Well, yeah, but I wanted to make this about me. But Ashton is right. He is actually a 4-time, if I'm not mistaken. You and I both 4-time world champions on there. So be sure to also to like the TWitWoW Facebook page. We are up and running. It is a legitimate page, so go give your interaction on there. If Facebook really isn't your scene, Ashton's created a TWitWoW subreddit there. You can find all of our TWitWoW content, and members of the community can create threads of their own on all things related to pro wrestling. However, if you want to get with us on the ground level, if you want to interact with us at the most intimate level, follow us both on Twitter. I am at John_TWitWoW. Ashton is at Apond404. So you guys have a lot of fun, I think, following both of us on Twitter. Get that whole TWitWoW crew there. And we will see you again for preview and predictions. Tomorrow night, the wait is over. No more holding back. We're going to have discussions like only TWitWoW can. Everything from 2 out of 3 falls for the U.S. Championship all the way to the main event. 3 men, 1 WrestleMania main event. Who's going to come out on top? You can find out our answers tomorrow night. Until then, guys, tune in and peace out.